Hi, Jace. Sunday morning here in Japan, Saturday evening in England. Tell me, what you've been up to today?
All right, mate. Cheers. Anyway, today I have been out. I've been out all day. It's now I don't know 10:20 p.m. here in England. I got home probably around about 9:30, I think, in the evening. I've been out since 9:30 this morning, building set pieces and also directing a music video, which has been an interesting challenge.
Yeah, tell us.
And the day just flew by, really.
Tell us more about the music video.
Yeah, so it's a local band in Hampshire, not necessarily Portsmouth, but they're called Castle Royals, and the Christmas release that they're doing, which is going to go onto iTunes and YouTube and all the Spotify and all that stuff. So they've done a song called One Last Dance, and they gave me the lyrics and they said, can you come up with a story for this and maybe do us a video? So over 2 shoots, so last weekend and this afternoon, we've been doing these 2 video shoots. We may have to do one more if we haven't quite got enough, but I think we've probably got enough. This afternoon actually was quite good because I said in the brief that I gave them 2 weeks ago, I said, right, these 4 scenes here, I'd like the band walking along the beach in very inclement weather, or inclement weather, however you want to say it. And today, that's exactly what I got. But I also had in there, I wanted a really nice sunset as well. And I got that as well. So it was almost like I'd ordered it, which was great.
What kind of kit do you need to be able to do the video?
Do you know what? It's amazing. So I was expecting, because I'm not a videographer, so I needed a videographer on board. So I put a plea out for a videographer, and I got one, and he's great. A guy called Alex Chun, and he came along, and I was expecting him to have like a car full of equipment, drones, as you would expect. He gets out his iPhone. He gets out a thing that he clips his iPhone onto, and he's going along. And his iPhone stays absolutely level while he's doing it. I mean, he's got the latest iPhone, admittedly, but the quality is unbelievable. Yeah. He said to me, he was watching it back today, and he went, "Wow!" He said, "I've just wasted 1,500 quid on another camera. Right? I needn't have got that camera. I can do all this on my iPhone." I'm like, "Wow, yeah, it's unbelievable." So yeah, and he has got a drone. We were going to do some drone shots today, but it was way too windy because we've got storm whatever it is over here at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen pictures with snow, and
there's snow up in Gloucestershire and in Scotland, but in Portsmouth we very, very rarely get snow. I actually don't think I've seen snow settle since I've moved here, which is
that's the thing. Where I am, I'm about 500 meters from the seafront, maybe a bit more, but.
Yeah, I'm not saying it doesn't snow, but when it does, it's quite sleety, but it never settles. Not like in Gloucestershire where you'd have like 5 weeks off school.
Tell you what, I haven't seen frost since God knows when I was not in Japan. I haven't seen frost. They do get it inland, but as I said, I'm only just near the seafront, so I haven't seen frost in years.
I saw it this morning. But yeah, it does freeze over here in Portsmouth, but it doesn't necessarily last very long.
Yeah, similar here with the snow and ice. Very rarely do we see it here, but they do get it, just a bit inland. Yeah. Okay, so let's get on to the football. So it's been probably 12 days or something since we spoke last. So yeah, just a name to start off with, a name that caught my eye. I think I'd seen it before. I thought Mousehill AFC. You know about them?
Or Mousehill, as they call it in.
Mousehill. Bloody hell.
Mousehill. Yeah.
Actually, the name of a place or what?
Yeah. So there's a little. It's kind of like a village town, really, in Cornwall.
It's in Cornwall, is it?
If it's the same place, yeah.
Yeah, they play in the Tool Station Western League Premier Division.
Yeah, it's got to be from Cornwall. I very much doubt they actually play in Mousehill because Mousehill's so small. And I've been on holiday there, and I don't recall seeing a football ground. It's probably on the outskirts, somewhere like in Falmouth or somewhere like that. But yeah, Mousehill, they call it Mousehill. That's how they say it. You're in Mousehill now. Mousehole.
I could eat a Cornish ice cream now.
You go there and you say Mousehole, the jukebox stops playing in the pub.
That's like even in Dorset they talk about grockles, tourists.
You can be in the pub in Mousehill and you say, it's really nice in Mousehill, isn't it? And the jukebox will stop, and then Brian Glover will put his head from around the corner and go, what you say?
It'd be like American Werewolf in London. What was it?
Exactly
Slaughtered Lamb. Slaughtered Lamb.
Slaughtered Lamb. Exactly right, mate.
Okay, and also since last we spoke, there've been a lot of World Cup questions answered. Not all of them. So
yeah,
in one of those, South Africa, they lost. So was it to Senegal, or the officials were from Senegal?
Yeah, was it Ghana they lost to, right?
Oh yeah, Ghana. Or was it the other way around? I can't remember. Anyway, so South Africa, Ghana, and Senegal, the countries in question. And anyway, South Africa complained, and they want the game at least reviewed, if not replayed. So
it happened to them before, didn't it?
Yeah, and yeah, it's happened before, but the boot was on the other foot before. So I think whoever it was had their correct request granted, and the game was replayed. So what's your take on games being reviewed? I mean, because you were just complaining about some decisions against West Ham there the other week, and damn well when it comes to Man City, and we could say the same about Cheltenham, it's virtually every game, we're complaining about refereeing. What do you think of? And and I remember the Ireland one, they against France with the Henry handball where they wanted the game replayed. We could go back to Maradona, Maradona with the hand of God. And then I remember the Lampard one against Germany in South Africa. What's your take on that?
Well, FIFA now say all that stuff is stopped because of VAR, and that kind of thing doesn't happen. But clearly, when you've got games like the South Africa game, things like that do still happen, right?
Yeah.
I don't know if you've actually seen the footage of it.
No, I haven't. I haven't seen the footage.
No, look it up, because they were clearly cheated, right? They were clearly cheated, just the same as those other incidents that you just mentioned. I mean, maybe not so much the Lampard one, because maybe you could err on the side of advocating the referee that with the naked eye in that instance you may have missed it, I suppose. At the end of the day, if you're a German, you'll say, well, England cheated their win in the World Cup in 1966 because of the did that ball cross the line?
No, I don't think it did. I don't think it did myself.
I don't think it did myself, but I have seen one angle on it where if you were maybe the official in that real-time situation, you might err on the side of giving the benefit of the doubt to the attacker, maybe. I don't know. But so what was the point I was going to try? So the point I was trying to make was that, there have been countless, that Thierry Henry goal, Joe Jordan against Wales, let's stick it in the net with my hand, like I'm Mr. Maradona kind of thing, I hate all that. I hate it because they deliberately. It was the other one, Suarez, didn't he? He did it against. Was that against Ghana? That might have been.
Yeah, it might have been. Yeah.
Was it Ghana? It was against an African side, anyway, in the World Cup.
I think it was Ghana. Yeah, Ghana.
I think he handballed it on the line, didn't he? Saved it or something. It was a clear shot on goal or something.
Then they missed the penalty, I think.
Missed the penalty, and then Uruguay went on to win, didn't they?
Yeah.
So yeah, personally, I think if anybody does that and they are seen they are seen retrospectively to be deliberately cheating, then I think not only should they get a lifetime ban from the sport, but I think the game should be replayed. That's what I think.
Okay. Yeah, if there's definitely cheating, but where do you draw the line between what's definitely cheating and what's not so clearly cheating?
Well, I remember Liverpool getting a penalty once. Robbie Fowler went down in the box and the referee gave a penalty, and Robbie Fowler got up and went, "That's not a penalty, right? I wasn't fouled, basically." And the referee then changed his mind and gave a goal kick or whatever it was. And I remember Robbie Fowler getting absolutely bloody vilified by Liverpool supporters and all that kind of stuff for being honest. But actually, I thought it was great. I thought it was fantastic. And I don't think I've not actually seen anything like that since, to be fair. I don't even remember the outcome of the game. All I remember is him doing that, right? I can't even remember whether they won or lost the game in the end, but I do remember him doing that.
I remember.
I was going to say, like with Thierry Henry's handball, he bloody knew. He put it in with his hand and was quite clearly happy to see a nation go out of the World Cup, irrespective of whether it's Ireland, Germany, Portugal, whoever. Right? He was more than happy to see a nation go out of the World Cup on the strength of him conning the referee at the end of the day.
I remember Arsene Wenger as well. He was it the African guy they had? Can't remember his name now. Kind of a tall, thin guy. Can't remember his name.
Who, France?
No, Arsenal.
What? Kanu?
Yeah, was it Kanu? Yeah, Kanu, and he just was it Sheffield Wednesday? I think it was. Threw the ball back. Was it they threw the ball back in and he just carried on playing because Wednesday were expecting to get the ball back. He just took it and went on to score. So Arsene Wenger asked for the game to be replayed, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. There was another team that did that, and then I can't remember who it was, but the manager then said, "Look, that's not on. We've done that." And he ordered his players to stand still while the other team kicked off and walked it through into the other goal to equalise. I can't remember who that was.
Also, I remember going back a few years, Barnet, they had a policy, I think it only lasted for one season, if that, where they weren't going to question the referee, not arguing with him or anything like that. But I think they stopped it for a year or two.
The thing is, at the end of the day, referees very rarely change their mind, so there's no point really at the end of the day. But yeah, I mean, it's all very well. I mean, I remember Thierry Henry saying in his statement, he actually admitted that it hit his hand.
Yeah.
But he was like, he's part of the game. He's part of the game, right? He wouldn't have been saying it's bloody part of the game if Ray Houghton had stuck it in with his hand at the other end.
Yeah.
He'd have been the first one bleating for a replay. And they're all the same. All these cheats are all the same. They're all the same. They do exactly the same thing. If Gary Lineker had stuck it in with his hand at the other end, Maradona, he'd have still been going on about it now.
Yeah, yeah.
Even though he's dead.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. There are still, unfortunately, too many cheats in the game, and I think that they should be. If you're gonna do it, you know that if you do it and you get caught, especially like there are so many cameras on a game these days.
Yeah.
It's like if you get caught speeding, right? It's your own bloody fault, right? You get caught speeding, you know that you've been caught, not because there's been a copper sat on the side of the road, but because there's a camera on every bridge on the M25. There's a camera on every bridge on the motorway in England, right? And you know if you've got caught speeding, you've got caught speeding. You've only got yourself to blame. It's exactly the same, from my opinion. If you cheat and you get caught on all the cameras, you should get whatever's coming to you.
Yeah. Yeah. The only thing about that is, I mean, if they've done it before in Africa, I just think, isn't it a little bit condescending? I mean, okay, yeah, it was cheating, let's replay. That's fine, but I think they're like you were just referring to with the Henry one, that was cheating as well. But it's in Europe. It's like Europe saying, well, we're actually above that. We don't cheat. I just feel why should they replay it in Africa but not in Europe?
Yeah, that's a good point. That is a good point. Yeah. It's a very good point. Like, I don't disagree with what you're saying there.
It's like saying, it's like them saying, we realize cheating is a problem in Africa, but actually it's not a problem in Europe. That's what it seems to me.
Yeah, that's a good point.
And then you get into the racist side of things, you know what I mean? Okay, so
what's your opinion? And do you think that it shouldn't be replayed? No game should be replayed, or what?
Well, I think we should be consistent. So, as I said,
even if it's consistently bad.
Well, I think personally, refereeing standards are not decision making for one reason or other isn't what it should be. So even we've seen on the VAR, even when they've got.
But don't you think VAR has improved that?
Oh yeah, absolutely, I do, and I noticed at the beginning people were complaining about it, but I don't hear so many complaints about it. People still complaining about it. I don't see the complaints that there were.
Not as much. I mean, they do, but not as. I mean, certainly I can only speak for here, but not as much. But in the same way that you just said, to replay a game in Africa would be like sort of saying it's a different class of game to what it is in the Europe or whatever.
Yeah, what I'm saying is really what I'm saying is.
I think.
Yeah, what I'm saying is really, it's like, I think, there's a racist element in it, personally, in that we're saying we recognize, it's like saying people in Africa are dishonest, innately dishonest, whereas in Europe, they're not innately dishonest. If they cheat, it's for honest reasons, some kind of strange logic,
Applying that same kind of logic, which is what I've thought about VAR. So you've got literally every game in the Premier League got VAR. From the Championship down, you haven't got it.
Yeah.
Right. So is that saying that, in the same light, is that saying, right, well, the standard of football below the Premiership is not worthy of VAR? Or is it saying that the standard of football below the Premiership doesn't need VAR because they're more honest, or the officials are better standard in the lower leagues?
Yeah, I think the lower.
Do you know what I mean? It's that kind of same argument, isn't it?
Well, I'm not sure it's the same.
One league has it; they should all have it.
Yeah, I'm not sure it's exactly the same, because in the lower leagues, it's also a matter of finance, which I guess could be true in Africa. So I don't know. Do they have VAR in the African World Cup games? I don't know.
I don't know. I have no idea. No idea.
Okay. Anyway, so a lot of things have been settled. So Belgium, France, Spain, Qatar, Croatia, Germany, Switzerland, Denmark, Netherlands, Brazil, England, Serbia, Argentina, some of the countries that have qualified. Then into the playoffs. So Serbia scored a last-minute winner, I think. I think they won away in Portugal.
Yeah,
so Portugal are in the playoffs and seeded. Italy are in the playoffs and seeded. Russia, Sweden also seeded, and then Scotland and Wales are also there, and they're both seeded as well. In Wales' case, I can understand it, but I'm a little bit surprised that Scotland is seeded. I think I'm right there, but unseeded are Turkey, Poland, North Macedonia, Ukraine, Austria, and the Czech Republic. So I'm a bit surprised Scotland is seeded and Poland aren't, to be honest.
Well, to be fair, I'm even surprised that Scotland made the playoffs, to be honest, but that's another story, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know what you're saying. I guess it's just how their system works, in as much as, because it wasn't just about where they finished. It's like results head to head as well count as well, and what comes.
Right.
So, yeah. I mean, Wales. You've got to say. I mean, don't count the other two out, but you've got to fancy a Wales-Scotland final, haven't you? Really, I think.
Isn't it just winner qualifies? No,
Or do you not agree?
Isn't it just the winner qualifies?
No. This is the semi-final, right?
Wow. I didn't realize that. Wow, blimey. Okay.
No, these are semi-finals. So,
wow.
So potentially Wales could play Scotland, and Italy will play Portugal, and one of those two won't qualify.
Okay.
Either Italy or Portugal won't qualify.
Wow. So also Cheltenham won in the FA Cup. So Cheltenham beat Gillingham in the league and then immediately had to play them in the cup. So we were both worrying that we'd lose the cup game, but managed to beat Gillingham. And now, like we were talking about before this, they got is it an away game at Wimbledon? Is that right? Plough Lane.
I should be going.
So,
I should be there.
Yeah, I'd never been to Plough Lane myself. So
I used to go Plough Lane for stock car racing, believe it or not.
So anyway, we were talking about it a few weeks ago, Jace, or in the last cast about 12 days ago. So Cheltenham reduced ticket prices. I don't know whether it was all round or for certain parts of the ground. I'm going to call it a ground, not a stadium. So were there any visible benefits, or did it make any difference? Do you have any take?
I don't think it wasn't as packed as they were expecting it to be. I don't think. I think it was about 3,000, maybe, if that. But you know, at the end of the day, whatever support they got in kind of helped get Cheltenham over the line. So I suppose it's got to be a good thing, I guess. Also, you know, coming up to Christmas, I know it would have put money over the till in the club shop as well. So that's a good thing. It's a good thing. Okay.
Also, Man United's.
What a circus that is.
Yeah. Before we get on to the managerial thing, so yeah. I think now their average weekly wage is a record 100. I think this is right. 164,000 quid a week. So I don't think. So I think that shows that. Okay, you've got to consider transfer fees and other things possibly, but I think it shows that it's not, okay, money is very important, but I think it shows as well, money isn't everything. You need a bit more than money to be successful.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I feel a little bit sorry for Solskjaer in a way. You know, he'd gone in there. He's clearly got a massive amount of love and passion for the club.
Yeah.
And he himself obviously is a club legend. I know that term is used far too loosely these days, but he is. You know, he's in folklore, Man United folklore, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
And he clearly was trying to do his absolute utmost and best. And I think as well, he made some really ambitious and good signings, but I think what he's done is he's almost created a bit of a monster, because it's all very well, and Jack Charlton used to say this, it's all very well having a team full of stars, but if they don't all shine at the same time, you've just got a black sky. And that's true, right? That's true. You know, so I think that's probably what's happened. You know, he's got all these really big stars, but can they play together as a team? I don't even think they want to play in a team. I think they just want to play for themselves. I think they just want to be those individuals, or they want to play in a team where they are the only star. You know? Sometimes it's easy to be a big fish in a little pond, but when you're, you know, a big fish in a big pond, you don't necessarily get noticed as the big fish, right?
In the ocean, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
I just wonder how much, I don't know how much Ronaldo's on, but I'm sure he's on a lot of money.
A fair old lick, as my granddad would have said.
Yeah. So I also wonder, I remember reading or watching a video about how when Shankly retired or left Liverpool, I don't know, did he just retire? I can't remember exactly. Or did he?
Yeah, no, he just retired.
Then they wouldn't let him back into training or anything. They said, don't come anywhere near here. I just wonder, because it's not going to happen at Man United, but I just wonder whether, Ferguson is kind of still there and getting, pulling some strings. What do you reckon?
Well, yeah, in exactly the same way that when Ferguson was manager, Matt Busby was still hanging around like a bad smell. And I'm sure Busby, although he was a different kind of guy, I'm sure he had a fair amount of say and influence. And I don't just think. I think you're right. I think with Ferguson being there for every game and all the rest of it, it's like a spectre hanging over you, isn't it? When you're the manager, I think.
Yeah.
But I also think Bobby Charlton being there every bloody game doesn't help either, to be honest.
Yeah, the other thing on that is I just wonder whether some of those appointments, an appointment like Solskjaer was made, and Ferguson had some input into that, so he could, because he thought, well, if I choose Solskjaer, I can have some influence on what's going on in the management.
Yeah.
If they, someone like Mourinho would just say, get lost, to Ferguson, whereas Solskjaer would, would give him an ear, basically. Yeah. Okay. On the FA Cup, I was watching the text, and maybe I watched a little bit of it, and then I saw the highlights. Stockport, I think they're the National League. Are they in the National League? And then they won at Bolton. They beat Bolton in the FA Cup replay. It was like real FA Cup drama.
Bolton were 2-0 up.
Sorry?
Bolton were 2-0 up at one point.
Yeah. And Stockport turned it around 5-3. Actually, when I was at Kiel, one of my flatmates, he's a City fan, but he's from Stockport, so he was also a Stockport fan. And I actually, we went. That was in the early '90s. So, was it the year before the Premier League started? I can't remember. It was around that era. It might have been before the Premier League started, just the year before, perhaps. I guess it could have been after it started. But I remember we went to the old Victoria ground in Stoke, and I think it was so it must have been the old League Two. I think it was before they changed the branding. And Stockport beat Stoke in we watched, I think, was it the first leg? I think we watched the second leg. They beat Stoke to get to the final of the old League Two playoffs. So I think they lost. Okay. They lost in the final. So right. They were that close to being in the top tier. But I remember that the football they played, that was kind of the era of, we talked about it before, like we know about Wimbledon, of course, but Cambridge, do you remember John Beck in Cambridge, where they'd be kicking the ball into the corners and winning the ball back? That was Dion Dublin time, I think. So to be honest, the football that they played was horrible to watch. It was horrible. But that's how close they were, and now there they are. I think they could even have been a bit lower than the national leagues, but they seem to be on the rise again.
Well, Brett Andrew got a bag full of goals for Stockport, didn't he?
Yeah. Yeah.
Rightly.
Actually, that's where Phil Foden's from. Phil Foden is from Stockport.
Yeah.
Anyway, I don't know who Stockport have got, but of course Bolton, they're in Division 1, and Cheltenham drew there on Saturday.
Today for me.
Yes, that's why I said on Saturday, because it's Sunday.
I know.
Okay. Kevin De Bruyne, COVID-19. So I just wonder. So he was away on international duty. The bane of Man City's life, going away on international duty with Belgium. He picks up injuries. Now he's come back with COVID-19. I guess you sent me that picture of the Wigan guy. I can't remember his name. He collapsed in training.
Yeah.
The question was posed whether it could be related to the vaccine. Not saying it is, but somebody raised that question yesterday.
Some scientist in the UK, I think it was, got lambasted for it.
So, when we watched the game,
the question that he's answering, there's been 4 collapses in the past week.
Yeah, wow, that's a lot. And
not right.
So in those games, of course, the players are not wearing masks, and I guess they've all had the vaccine. I don't know if they all had the vaccine or have some chosen not to. Do you know what's the state of affairs on that?
I don't know, to be honest. I kind of lost touch with that, to be honest. I think some clubs are actually insisting on it, that players are having the vaccine and all that kind of stuff, but I think some aren't. I just don't know how it works. I really don't know how it works.
Okay. Also, Premier League have signed a $2 billion. Was it? I don't know what it was. Was it dollars or pounds or euros? I'm not sure what it was. I think it could have been pound. Deal with NBC. So I think also NBC, was it NBC or some American company, TV company, have signed a big deal with La Liga as well.
Right.
So obviously football in the US is, I guess the timing, and it fits in with American timings. They can show the European football early and then show the domestic stuff later on in the day. So with 24-hour TV nowadays.
Yeah.
But I don't think we'll see it trickle down to the fans. We'll just see salaries probably go up, bigger transfer fees and all that stuff.
Yeah, I mean, soccer in the US is pretty big in the colleges.
Yeah.
It has been for a while. But, whether it actually becomes one of their main sports, I think it will need the US men's national team to get to a semi-final or a final before they start to take note. I mean, American football, women's US soccer is massive. It's massive. They get more crowds than the men do.
Yeah. Okay. Also, the other must have been last week. Bayern Munich lost to, I don't know how to pronounce it, Augsburg, and Augsburg, Bayern's closest rival. So closest club in closest rival in Bundesliga. 80 kilometres. I mean, are there any clubs in England that have to travel that far to play at their closest rival? I mean, 80 kilometres.
What's that in miles? 80 kilometres.
That must be 50 miles.
Plymouth and Exeter, maybe.
Okay.
I can't think of another. Plymouth, Exeter. What else have we got? probably. Who's Carlisle's nearest rival? Hartlepool, probably, isn't it?
Is it across the way or down? So down would be Barrow. Are they in the league now?
Yeah, they are. Yeah, I can't. I can't. No, I can't think of.
Yeah, it's quite a way for to the nearest club. But that brings us on to the issue of catchment areas.
Yeah.
So I remember back in the old non-league days, Cheltenham being talked of as a non-league sleeping giant. I think that's when they were in the Southern League.
Who said that? I don't remember that.
I remember hearing it on Seven Sound Radio or something.
Right.
And
well, they weren't wrong, were they?
I mean, so I don't know where do, because of course these days Forest Green are in the league as well, but is I
still have to pinch myself when you say that. Forest Green are in the league. What is that about?
I remember them playing in the FA Vars, So what do you make? Catchment areas, are they important, or I mean? So I don't know who are Cheltenham supporters. Are they just people from the town, from the county, from the villages outside? I don't know who.
I would say Cheltenham supporters are mainly from the town and surrounding sort of outskirts. Maybe some from Gloucester, although they would never admit it. So places like Quedgeley and Churchdown, places like that, which are really Gloucester, but actually no, they're not going to go to Gloucester. They're going to go to Cheltenham, right? That's what I'm saying. Cirencester as well. Are they going to go and watch Cirencester Town? Are they going to go watch Forest Green? Maybe. Probably going to go to Cheltenham, right? Because it's quite nice. I'm going to sound really misogynistic now. It's not meant. I'm just going to say, it's easier to get an excuse to go to the game if you can drop your missus in Cheltenham shopping centre rather than Stroud. That's all I'm saying, right? If you're going from Cirencester, that is.
Yeah, in German terms, I'm just wondering whether that's a big benefit to Bayern, though, with such a big catchment area, whether that's part of the reason they're such a big club. So
undoubtedly. I mean, look at Liverpool and Everton, two massive clubs in that massive area, two massive clubs, and they're only separated by a park pretty much.
Yeah.
And do they get yes, they do get fans going from all over the country, but I would say probably the nucleus of it is from the city of Liverpool, I would say.
Okay, so in the FA Cup, we're talking about the FA Cup, staying on getting back to the FA Cup. So Maidenhead, they lost 7-4 at Halifax? Yeah. I noticed then they followed that up. They were 3 down at Boreham Wood after 46 minutes. So I don't know whether they got some defensive issues there. But I was just trying to remember who you said at the beginning of the season for the National League. Was it Boreham Wood or Bromley? It was one of those, I think.
Bromley, I'd say.
At Bromley. So I think one of those are the leaders. I don't know which one's the leaders at the moment.
It ain't Bromley, I don't think. And it ain't Wrexham as well, which I'm happy about.
So, I noticed as well, Connor Sammon. I guess that must be the same Connor Sammon that was playing for Wigan. Did he play Everton or Brighton? I think he played down. He's an Irish guy. So I'm sure that's the same one, but there he is playing for Alloa in Scotland.
Sounds a bit fishy to me.
Yeah. So he scored. In the 72nd minute. And what happens? Mendy, he's an Alloa player. he gets sent off in the 72nd minute. So I don't know what that was for. Was it celebration or provoking an opponent? I don't know, but so that was an equaliser. So they made it 1-1 in the 72nd minute, and then Alloa down to 10 men, and then I think it was Dunfermline or Dumbarton go and get the winner in the 82nd minute. I think it was the winner. So I mean, that kind of stuff really irritates me. So you know, it's just careless. It's just like picking up an unnecessary yellow, you know, and then you get another one, so you miss a game or something. So those are little details. You know, I remember Aguero, when he got that famous winner, he took his shirt off and he got the yellow card. Okay, maybe that's a little bit different because it's the last game of the season, but yeah, that's really careless.
Yeah.
Also, I noticed a name he scored Fulham's third against Barnsley last week. I don't know how to pronounce it, but harping back to the 1970s, Neeskens MkII scores Fulham's third against Barnsley. So Neeskens, it's obviously the famous Dutch guy.
Yeah,
I think he was a bit of an enforcer in midfield, I think, for Holland in the 70s.
Yeah.
And then I saw also last week, Finn Azars put Swindon 1 up against Newport. Didn't he play for Cheltenham?
Yeah, he did.
And we're also talking about Ebbsfleet. So, and Welling, and they were playing each other last week. Biddy Waters on the goal sheet for Halifax again.
Yeah. Darryl Duffy's still knocking him in.
Who's still knocking him in?
Darryl Duffy.
All right, I know the name, yeah. Okay, and then so Watford. So we were just talking about the Man United wage bill. So and then of course last weekend it was the death knell for Ole Solskjaer. Do you reckon the third and fourth goals were the nail in the coffin? For example, if it had been 2-1, do you reckon he might still have been in the job, but the actual third and fourth goals were the killer?
No, I think if they'd have lost either 1-0, 2-0, 2-1 to Watford, I think a loss to Watford would have done it. I think it was just the fact that it was 4-0 was the height of embarrassment. I think was it 4-0, 4-1, wasn't it? 4-1.
4-1, yeah.
So I think that was just the height of embarrassment for them. In many ways, that was probably more embarrassing than a 5-0 to Liverpool, although I'm not so sure. But yeah.
So do you think this is just similar to what they've done before? I mean, they got Moyes, they got Van Gaal, they brought in Mourinho. Do you think do you think they've got a long-term vision, or are they just changing? This guy hasn't worked, so they're bringing somebody else. But do you really think they've got a concrete long-term vision that's going to work?
No, I don't. I think they're panicking, to be honest. I think they're panicking. I think they might have had I think they definitely had Pochettino in their sights, but that kind of went sour. And then they turned to Brendan Rodgers, and he said, "No, I'm not interested." You know, I think they're panicking. I really do.
Well, I don't think Woodward. I mean, Woodward seems to be the guy who makes the decisions, but I'm not convinced he knows a lot about football myself. So.
Well, no. But there's an awful lot of people in football that don't know a lot about football.
Yeah, that's right. Okay, so have they missed the boat? I mean, Conte, he's gone to Tottenham, which I think is a good appointment.
And do you, even after this week's result in Europe?
Well, I mean, I don't know. What team did they have out? Did they have out the fourth team? I don't know.
That's it. Yeah, put out a team that lost. That's all you need to know, right?
Yeah. I'm not going to those Europa League games.
Well, if you win the Europa League, then that's qualification for the Champions League, is it not?
Yeah. I'm not going to. Conte did it at Chelsea. He did it at Chelsea. I think he'll do a good job at Tottenham. So, okay, Jace, we're going to have a talk about Cheltenham. So they were leading twice at Bolton today, although apparently took a bit of a pommeling. So is this the best Cheltenham team ever?
Woof. Now, there's a question. Woof. Bloody hell.
I think it must be. League position would say that, in my opinion, but maybe you disagree.
Well, bloody hell, that is a hard one. That is a hard one. If you'd have had, I mean, I know it's all ifs and buts and hypotheses and all the rest of it, but I think if you'd have had the team that absolutely were the team that won the FA Trophy and then the conference the following year, for me, they had everything. That team had everything. They had a rock solid defence. They had flair on the wings. They had a guy up front, or two, or even three guys up front that you knew, give them half a chance, it was going to get in the back of the net. You know, they weren't like your Chris Camdens of this world. So for me, I mean, you had the likes of Chris Banks, Mark Freeman, who might not have been the prettiest footballer ever, but my God, was he effective. Jamie Victory, Mike Duff, Steve Book, Neil Grayson, Clive Walker, Dale Watkins, Jason Eaton. Jesus, I mean, that was a hell of a squad. And I reckon if you could have put that squad in League One today, they'd be a lot higher than 10th.
You reckon?
Yeah, I do. I really do. I remember that FA Cup run we went on when we were bloody unlucky to lose to West Brom. And I reckon if we'd have beaten West Brom, we'd have done Fulham. I reckon we would have been talking semi-finals. We would have been talking semi-finals, right? You know, and I know it's all like, you know, whatever. But I thought we totally outplayed West Brom that day, and we hit the post in the last minute or last couple of minutes or whatever it was. And the goal they got wasn't particularly brilliant. It was a soft goal. You know, if ever you've seen a non-league side, well, were we non-league or we were League Two? And we were non-league, weren't we? We were non-league. Yeah, we were non-league. We were non-league in that. Yeah, we were. And if you've ever seen a non-league side absolutely batter a league team and not get a result, that was the day. That was the day. We absolutely battered them. And we would have absolutely dispatched Fulham. I have no doubt we would have beaten Fulham. And then that would have been semi-finals, mate, of the FA Cup as a non-league side. And yeah, I don't know. I mean, yes, you're right. In terms of historical standing and league position and all the rest of it, I mean, even the side that beat Leeds home and away couldn't manage higher than 17th. And you have to ask a question, why not, if you can beat Leeds home and away? But, you know, freak results happen and stuff, don't they?
What about John Ward, 2007? Was that 2007 or 2008?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, I saw both those games. Yeah, I would say that was John Ward, just get the goal and then defend. So not pretty, but memorable. Yeah, I think I was very, very fortunate to see that Cheltenham team at that time. And I know you can say, well, maybe they were only so good because they were playing in a lower standard. And that may be true, but like I said, I would have loved to have seen them play that team. I would have loved to have seen them play at this level because I reckon they would have been
pretty bloody damn good, to be honest. I know they were a bunch of journeymen and all that kind of stuff, but they just seemed to gel. You know, it was almost like, I mean, you and I know we've been watching them for years, and you never got that feeling of we're not going to get turned over today until that season, right? That season, you went to a game knowing that some team would have to play their absolute asses off to get a result against you. Do you remember those two games that we had in that amazing cup run where we dispatched bloody Burnley and Oldham?
Yeah, but
you know, I know it's Burnley and Oldham. I know it was Burnley and Oldham, but you know, before that season, if we'd have even got a sniff at a league side in round two, we'd have been like, oh Jesus, this is going to be 10-0. I felt confident on both of those games that we were going to get a result. I did. I absolutely was convinced we were going to turn over those teams, and we did it. You know, for me, that was like winning the bloody FA Cup.
Okay, so maybe.
Anyway, so my long-winded answer to your question is it the best Cheltenham team? Position-wise, yes, obviously, but I think the jury's still out whether they will live long in my memory like that team did. Do you know what I mean?
Okay, yeah. I mean, this is programs is all about long win. That's all right. If you can't have speak in a long-winded way on here, you can't do it anywhere. That's what this is all about.
Do you remember that road in Hatherley that was called Longmynd Avenue? Do you remember that?
Yeah, I remember.
I remember turning the M upside down, so it said Longmynd Avenue.
Is that the one where you're doing a kind of a rat run in Hatherley and then you come to a T-junction and the signpost is facing you, or is that some other one?
Yeah, and there's me thinking I was funny changing the M so it turned the other way around, so it said Longmynd, and then some other geezer comes along, changes it back, and then somebody puts a G and an E on the end of it, so it was Longmynd Avenue.
Also, that's a bit like when I used to go and visit my relatives, my uncles in Coventry on the old A46, and you'd go through Snitterfield, and somebody, you know what somebody had done with the end. They never cleaned it, or maybe they did clean it, and just whoever it was just kept coming back and spraying it again. I'm sure if I went back there now, it'd still be there.
I went back to Cheltenham not long back, and the road sign for Uckington is still not Uckington.
Yeah, I never noticed that. Actually, one of my old classmates, he lived in Uckington. I used to go up there and visit him. Name. I'm getting back to names again. We were talking about Neeskens earlier, and a name for Arsenal is Tavares. I keep hearing that. I'm not sure about it. So is that haven't stopped dancing yet, or is that my imagination?
Heaven must be missing an angel.
Were they from Liverpool by any chance, or is that? No, I'm talking about the real thing. We're from Liverpool.
Real thing, yeah. That's the real. Do you know? There's a little story attached to the real thing. So, you know, I might have told you that we used to have Afghan hounds when I was a kid, and Chris Armu from the real thing wanted to buy one of our dogs, and he said to my mum, he said, "Money is no object," and she said, "You're only in the real thing."
Okay, and Raul Jimenez, he had that skull fracture just over a year ago, I think it was, but he's knocking them in again, and that's coincided with the rise of Wolves. They've kind of gone right up the table. We were saying that we were fancying their boss to be the next guy out the door, Bruno Lager, but they're on a great run. They beat West Ham last week.
Yeah. Yeah, they are. How did they get on today?
I got a feeling they drew. I might be wrong on that. I know this.
Were they playing Palace? Were they playing Palace today?
No, Villa won at Palace, didn't they? Steven Gerrard, that's 2 out of 2.
Jesus. Yeah. Okay.
Might have been Brighton. Was it Brighton?
Oh, yeah, might well have been. I can't seem to find it for some reason. Where the hell did they play today? Norwich. 0-0.
Yeah. Dean Smith.
God, Brighton drew with Leeds 0-0 as well.
Yeah, I was just looking at those tables, teams like Norwich, they still got the time to get out of the mire. Yeah, staying on names, Watford have got a guy called Louza.
Look at Newcastle, seriously.
Yeah.
Say again.
Yeah, you're saying Watford have got a guy called Louza.
Louza.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Look at the state of Newcastle, though. They're in dire trouble, aren't they?
Yeah.
Really? I mean, geez. I mean, is that club, now with all this money, when they're 6 points off safety? Jesus. Yeah. And Burnley, who are 3 points off safety in 18th, they've got a game in hand as well. Jeez, I mean,
yeah, I think not being able to take up the reins of the club in the summer is going to bugger them up, possibly, isn't it?
Bugger who up?
Newcastle up. So they because they couldn't take over in the summer, they couldn't take advantage of that transfer window.
Well, yeah, I just don't see with 6 points and no wins attracting anybody at all. At all.
Yeah, I think if there are some the Spondulics are on the table, I think it will actually.
Do you think so?
Yeah, just on another thing, Jace, because I've only got a few minutes left. Okay, so probably this will be the last point. Okay. This will be the last point. So,
yeah.
So, yeah. So in the City Everton game.
Yeah.
So it works both ways, but Iwobi plays Alex. Is it Alex? Alex Iwobi plays for Everton. So he left. What do you call it? He left reminder on. Can't reminder that he's. What do they call it? He left his
calling card.
Calling card on Cancelo.
Yeah.
So it was a genuine one. They do feign it a lot. Cancelo included, but I think this was a genuine one where Iwobi stood on his ankle, and so Cancelo went down, and he was obviously in pain, and then Iwobi comes up after ref blew, and he's showing sympathy, and then he offers his arm to help him up to the ground. And then Cancelo says, "Yeah, that's all right, mate." And he takes his hand and he gets up. That's another thing that really irks me. This guy is just could have got you injured for a long time. And now he's coming up showing you sympathy. And half the time, I think they're showing sympathy because they don't want to get a yellow card.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, I'd have given him a bunch of fives myself, but there we go.
Yeah, I think that's in the same bracket as, players going down that want the referee to halt play. For me, that's another one of those things that goes in the same thing. Yeah, Chase, I got to go. I got to go to work, believe it or not.
Okay, mate.
Sunday. So
all right.
We can talk about some of the other things I'd written down in the next one. Okay. So
have a good day, mate. Have a good day.
Yeah. Enjoy your beer.
Cheers, mate.
Yeah, see ya.